Una canción que alumbra, una canción que acuda palpitando corazón. Una canción que alarde coraje al cobarde, la puerta salvaje, no hay prisión. Una canción que exige las plumas del buitre, la mirada del halcón. Se alastra el deseo aprietando al pecho las musas de la canción. Keep on, keep on, keep on. Una canción que alumbra, emoción que acuda palpitando corazón. Una canción que alarde coraje al cobarde, la puerta salvaje, no hay prisión. Se deshizo el miedo, se encantó al encaje, en 7 dimensiones bailó el león. Se hostigó el castigo, alas al destino, una canción camino, singularidad, amor, sintonía. Alumbra, emoción que acuda palpitando corazón. Una canción que alarde al cobarde, la puerta salvaje, no hay prisión. Una canción que exige las plumas del buitre, la mirada del halcón. Se alastra el deseo entregándose al pecho las musas de la canción, singularidad, amor, sintonía. La realidad, la fuente de alegría. Singularidad, amor, sintonía. La realidad, la fuente de alegría.
¿Quién te besó a la orilla de la empaliza? Dime niña, ¿quién te besó a la orilla de la empaliza? La culpa tuvo tu mamá, que la justicia no hiciera nada. Por eso a mí me gusta el merengue de la empaliza. A la orilla de la empaliza, el merengue de la empaliza. Si tu mamá tuvo la culpa, se descuidaron que la justicia no hiciera nada. Por eso a mí me gusta el merengue de la empaliza. A la orilla de la empaliza. El merengue de la empaliza. Se descuidaron que la justicia no hiciera nada. Por eso a mí me gusta el merengue de la empaliza. A la orilla de la empaliza. Mira niña, qué bueno está. Las mujeres son de Santiago y en Santiago ya viven bien. Las mujeres son de Santiago y en Santiago ya viven bien. Y por causa de las mujeres sanjuaneras soy yo también. Y por causa de las mujeres sanjuaneras soy yo también. Mira niña, qué bueno está. A la orilla de la empaliza. Mira niña, qué bueno está. A la orilla de la empaliza.
Eso. That was Leti Garza, La Impaliza, the Brown Recluse mix. Así the Brown Recluse mix, La Impaliza. Our friend Leti Garza. Leti has an album that she's going to, that she has released some new music. We're excited that she's going to have a CD release show coming up for Leti Garza's album. Borderland, that is right there, is coming up this month of May. Hola, hello everybody. I'm Frederico7. As you can see here on the screen, we're going to be having a live conversation with Mauricio Callejas today. This is at 7 with Frederico7. And yes, that's what we do. We have a time where we can share conversations that we would be having otherwise as musicians, as creatives. In regular, normal days, we would be running into each other more frequently and having these conversations about creativity and music and what is happening. And this show is an opportunity to keep having these conversations and keep moving the creativity forward. We usually have musicians from all styles and types of music share their craft and creativity here in the show. So, for example, last week we had El Combo Oscuro. Yes, we interviewed El Combo Oscuro. Very great, lively cumbia new band here in Austin, El Combo Oscuro. They have a show coming up, El Combo Oscuro. That is correct. So next weekend, así es. There is a 3-day event apparently happening on April 16th, 17th, and 18th at the Kenny Dorhan backyard in East Austin. There will be some amazing musicians, including musicians from a Humphrey McGee band. We're gonna have Rise Against the Story, El Tule, and Combo Oscuro, and many others. That is a show happening at Kenny Dorham Auditorium next weekend. 3 days if you really want to get a taste of Austin. So we had those guys of Combo Oscuro here last week to talk about their show. They're playing this Saturday. We've had here before people like Indrajit Banerjee, one of the master sitar players in the world. Yes, that's right. So if you want to see the whole interview that we had with Indrajit, here is the link below. You can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe so that you can see interviews with people like that. We had here Nico of the Afro-Colombian supergroup Superfónicos. Yes, my friend Nico was talking about getting his project and the journey that has been to have a large 7 to 9 piece band in Austin and so forth. And today, once again, we have in the studio Mauricio Callejas. I want to have a conversation with him. He does so many things in the community, from curating music festivals to having conversations with musicians and taking a role on with songwriters and sharing their craft throughout the world, really. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Mauricio keeps his community going and his music. And in the near future, yes, I want to have Akina Adderley here in the show. She is a great musician. So once again, that's what we do. Happy to have you. If you're watching us on Austin Music Television, if you're watching on however you get your TV, you search Austin Public. Yes, you search Austin Public, and then you can go to channel 16 on Mondays at 7. So however you get your TV. So thank you, Austin Music Television. Thank you for having us. And a shout to our friends at Austin Texas Musicians, ACS, keeping us informed in what is happening. So thank you, everybody, for also visiting my YouTube channel. And those are my shouts. Let's listen to some music, and then we're going to bring Mauricio Callejas here. The next song we're going to hear, it's by a band called Easy Compadre. They have some shows coming up as well, so I want to get some of their music to hear. And after we hear the song, it's called Mamulike Blike by Easy Compadre, and then we'll come back to the studio and have a conversation with Mauricio Callejas. So hang in there. That's right.
corazón. Hay panditas, hombres, lobos y seres extraterrestres aquí. Mi Jaime Maussan puede explicar la vibra de este lugar. Así que easy, compadres. Aquí estoy para el guachicoleo y por el CD los acompaño hasta el amanecer. Mamón, si estás escuchando, cómprame una coca. Mamón, si estás escuchando, cómprame una coca. Mamón, si estás escuchando, cómprame una coca. Hay panditas, hombres, lobos y seres extraterrestres aquí. Si van pasando la cuesta Mamulique, cómprame una coca. Abran bien los ojos, la mente y cuídense el corazón.
Orale, 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 orale. That was Mamulique, Mamulique. That is right. They are talented, talented band from, of course, a lot of this, not always, but often the musicians that we are sharing here in the show are based right here in Texas, and Mamulique doing some work with those guys. I'm excited about their music. I'm actually looking forward to do some Portuguese singing in some of their tracks. So, guys from Easy Compadre, shout to you guys, and a shout to all Austin musicians and everybody watching on Austin, Texas Musicians Channel 16. I would love to welcome now to the studio Mauricio Callejas, a songwriter, a producer, a content creator, so many things, a family man, tantas cosas. Mauricio, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Freddie, and I'm excited to be in your program. I've been watching it since you started, and I think it's a great idea, a great opportunity for not only sharing music, but I love to Austin music. So thank you for the invitation.
Oh man, absolutely. Many things with there is a word to pivot, no pivotear in español. We have people from America Latina, friends from Brazil watching, so sometimes we speak some español here. We'll be bilingual.
Yes.
The word to pivot, pivotear, no, this show for me was a way to do something that for me was meaningful, that I could also be sharing content and sharing my songs in this format, but also connecting with people, because we would be having these conversations, maybe running into each other at the Mexican American Cultural Center or somewhere else. So that's one of the ways that I've done it. How have you pivoted as a content creator over the last year? What are some of the ways you found yourself changing, huh?
Yes. Well, it happened really fast because I was launching or releasing a CD, Crisis or Crisis, if you wish, back in February 27. The pandemic started like full time or all over the country at the end of February and March. So my plan was, once the CD was released and everything was online on the digital streaming platforms, I was going to go to a small tour. And actually, I started it. I went to New York, and right in New York, where everything was really bad, I was able to come back to Austin after the New York closed, and that was it. So I couldn't go to any other places, and very soon we realized that this is not going anywhere, so we have to.
So the record was called Crisis. You were already like knowing that something was gonna come up.
Yes, yeah, that's a weird thing that happened. The album is Crisis, and everything was around the crisis that the coronavirus brought us. And so what I started doing, I started creating videos. So I decided, okay, so I'm gonna make each song a single. So I'm going to start creating videos, and so far I have three already released, but I have material even from that New York trip for other songs. So I'm working on that. So that was my first like plan B. Let's do something else. So we're not gonna be able to go places. So let's create material so we can share it.
You can tell those stories that way. After we are done with our conversation, I'm going to play Le Falta Salir. I think is there one of the videos that you guys produced?
Yes, and that's another coincidence because le falta salir in Spanish means you need to go out, or you might miss going out. That's another way to think about it. And the song was made before this happened, but
Wow.
it was released right on the pandemic period.
Oh, que cosa! You guys were feeling that we're gonna need this kind of music, and so we'll start playing Le Falta Salir here in the Austin Music TV, and we'll share it later as well in today's show. But yeah, like you're saying, folks can follow you on social media and in your YouTube channel, and get not just your videos, but there were some other content that I know you've been releasing, all the way from teaching younger musicians how to properly tune their nylon guitar, or there was a number of things that you've been sharing with the community. Talk to us a little bit about what's the drive, how did that started for you to venture out as an educator as well, in addition to all that you do?
Yes, so I get this request very often. Do you teach guitar? And usually I turn down those requests because I don't have enough time. And I thought, well, I'm at home, so we have this channel of communication that is YouTube that I'm not using. Before I wasn't using very much. So I thought, well, I think this might be a good topic. Let's create some small classes, and I call them mini classes, like small little classes, teaching a very specific point for beginners, for guitar players. My guitar style is mostly Latin American, so I'm like teaching techniques for Latin American rhythms, how to tune the guitar, very basic, but probably things that you don't find it very easy because they are so basic, and that's what I have. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you're gonna find the mini classes playlist. I think I have like 28 so far, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a lot of material done during this year.
That is great, Mauricio. I'll share your socials later on here. If there is an easy link for your YouTube channel, or maybe even for your website, I can drop it here as well for folks
Yes,
watching.
I think if you go to my website, it's everything links there. So that's probably the easiest way. Mauricio Callejas, spelled like my name, .com.
Perfecto, mauriciocallejas.com, and I'll put it in the bottom in a little bit as well, so before we leave, people can see that. That is great, and also I guess a way to keep community going. Comunidad es algo muy presente en lo que veo, and something very present in what I see from you always involves community. There is I know that we are not in the season of Centroamericano, but that's something that you've been involved with, and maybe some people are watching right now on Austin Music TV, or some people are watching on social media. They may be new to your work. Would you talk to us a little bit about the festival? There's a music festival called Centroamericano that has happened every year. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. So this is an idea that started like 17, if I'm not wrong, 17 years ago. So when we came to Austin, we decided that we wanted to keep our ties with the music scene in El Salvador. So we, with my wife, we kind of put together the idea of creating a website. So that was the first, like the seed of everything else. This website is centroamericanto.com, which is a play on words, like Centroamerica, that's Central American, and canto, which is song, so centroamericanto.net, .net. And Centroamericanto.net was a library of singer-songwriters from Central America. So we started that way, like creating pages for free for hosting information for these amazing artists in Central America. That evolved to not only to the website but also to a radio, to a podcast, and later in
Wow.
2005 we started some a festival, but at the beginning was more like a concert. We brought it to Austin in 2011, and since then we have done 12 editions of the Centroamericanto Fest in Austin. It's sponsored by the city, by local businesses
Nice.
as well, and we bring Central American artists that reside in the U.S. and also from Central America, showing this type of music that might not be very common for like mainstream listeners. So I think it's a great opportunity, and there's a lot of work to do still. And
Oh, that is
that's always, yeah.
cuando estás haciendo comunidad, when you're building community, right? There is always something to do, and in the music, oh my gosh.
Yes, yeah. Like the festival, we started with music, and then we said, well, people is asking for food, so let's do food. So we created like this vendor fair, and so we
Ah,
have food from Central America, music, and then some dance groups came, so we also had dance. The last maybe 4 editions we had film from Central America. So the festival has like increasing its reach and also
yeah,
the
it's
complexity.
scope. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Wow. I really am eager for us to get to the point where we can have those events in person, para que podamos estar en persona seguramente, ¿no? Have you? How you're doing with that? Have you gotten a vaccine? Are you planning on getting a vaccine? Where are you guys on that?
Yes, yes. So I'm in the list. I got my first doses, so I'm heading towards my second dose, and I think everybody should be getting back to like normal, just in quotes, right? Whatever we
Exacto.
can call normal from this point on. Um, but I'm really hopeful that the vaccine added with the security measures, with common sense, government common sense as well, we can come back and be productive, be creative, and be in community. I hope so. I hope, really hope that.
Ooh, me too. Like, yes, we are together hoping for that. Oh,
Yes.
Dios mío. Un saludo a la gente aquí in Austin and all over America Latino. Folks, they're tuning in on social media. If you are here on YouTube or Facebook, you can say hello to Mauricio on the Frederico7 YouTube or Facebook. If you make a comment, we can even read a question on the air. And in Austin Music Television, thank you so much for having an interest on música internacional. Mauricio, yes, talk to us a little bit about your story as, in the full sense of the word. I think we are full Latin Americans. We are Americans. We are Latinos, Central American, in your case, myself, South American, but then I lived in Mexico. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did music, let's start with that. How did music start for you that you knew, wow, I think that's a path for me? When was in your life when you figured out that music was a path that you were going to follow?
Yeah, lo voy a decir en español porque quiero dar un saludo también a todos los
Por
amigos que
favor.
pueden estar.
Vamos a saludar a todos en español
Sí,
por un
en español, sí,
momento.
Gracias a todos los que están escuchando y viendo. Mis orígenes van desde El Salvador, entonces yo soy salvadoreño. Vine a Austin hace como 20 años más o menos. So I'm going to say that in English. I'm from El Salvador. It's a small country, like you might know. It's the smallest country in Central America. I came to Austin 20 years ago, and I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old. in a school band, and that was my first encounter with music, with creating music, because
I
my
see.
dad and my mom, they were like listeners, and they liked to listen to music. We had music at home, but playing the guitar was like the turning the page for me. Creating the, I don't know how to say that in English, but desarrollando los callos en los dedos, the
Sí,
calluses in my fingers,
sí.
right? Uh, in overcome the pain, because that's kind of the test when you start playing the guitar. If you can overcome the pain of your fingers, then probably that's for you. It's an instrument that's gonna work for you. So that's how it started. I started really young, playing in mass in my school, playing in school bands, playing Guantanamera. I think that was the first song that I played in public with a group of guitars.
Ah, qué hermoso.
And sí, sí, Guantanamera is one of the most iconic songs in Latin America from Cuba. So probably everybody knows it. And then later, when I was in high school, in our country, in I think in the rest of Latin America, like the documentary Rompan Todo mentioned or was based around the Latin America rock movement was happening at the end of the 90s.
Oh,
And
yes, the documentary, I believe, is on Netflix.
in Netflix, yeah, it's Rompan Todo. I don't know if it has a translation in English. So that was happening, and my my group of friends, we were really into that music. I started writing songs, and I thought, well, this is probably my opportunity. So I knocked the door of a radio that happened to be the pioneer in Spanish rock in El Salvador, and they were really open. I recorded 4 songs there. They aired a couple of them. So that was my start, like in the 90s, 91, as a recording artist, very young and unexperienced. But since then, I kept writing, recording. I released my first full album in 2002. So it took me like a decade to, yeah, from that radio moment to have a CD. And then we moved to Austin, and
Like
we,
those 10 years of music school, right?
yes, yeah, playing all over the place, playing in different bands and at the university, playing in bars, playing in cultural centers. So yeah, but the music never left me. I've been playing since 8 years old.
And it's interesting as you were talking about, I was just I want to give a shout to community radio and the importance of community radio in general, or independent radio too, because yes, there are so many super talented artists that they get a breath of oxygen. It just oxygenates you to keep creating sometimes for a few years more. And it's yeah, it is a great thing that we can have independent and community radio for sure.
Yes, actually, I'm really close to KOP or Co-op here in Austin.
Ah, saludos a Co-op
Saludos, sí,
Radio.
sí, sí. I used to be part of the board. I've been applying to have a show there. So I'm really close, and I believe, I hear what you're saying, the necessity of having community radio, a radio that can give channel of communication to different ethnicities,
Así
social
es.
places, groups, and everything.
Absolutely. Mauricio, and then when you came from El Salvador, did you guys come directly to the United States? Did you come to Austin, or did you go somewhere else within the United States? How was your transition into the Austin musical scene?
Yes, we came to Austin because the fame of Austin being the live music capital of the world. So we decided for Austin. We came directly from El Salvador to Austin. We loved the city. We stayed here for, so I think we're gonna die here. We love this city. The city has given us so much opportunities, and not only musically, but also as a family, as a community. Um, so that was our first stop in the United States, and we stayed here.
It is
Actually,
interesting.
I have a song for Austin.
See?
It doesn't have a video though, but I wrote that song in 2005. So we came in 2002. 3 years took me to feel Austin like home. But I wrote that song and I just recorded it in this Crisis album.
That people need to hear that. So you mentioned you've been you worked on a few videos and including the video for Le Falta Salir that we are going to hear in a few minutes. But for the album Crisis, so that one you did release. You were just on the process of touring the album. COVID hit, right? Like you mentioned, you guys even did a performance in New York. So I have here, just so folks have your website on the screen so that folks can refer to and look for your music, look for Crisis, El Disco, and you have other albums. How many albums have you published, Mauricio, over the years?
Crisis is the fifth, so I have four other albums. I have only four of them online. There's an EP that I released in 2016 that didn't have. I never published it online, so it was only like a very limited edition physical CD. So if you go to Spotify or YouTube, you're gonna find four albums.
Maravilla. And of course, you are a songwriter and a creative force, so your music is very much, you have a sound that es tu sonido, tienes tu propia voz. However, some folks that may be tuned right now on the Austin Music TV, maybe you are the first musician from El Salvador that they meet. What do you like to share with people in terms of music from El Salvador or other musicians? If folks will ask you, oh, what should I get into musically? To get more into the music of your country, who are some of your favorites?
Yes, so El Salvador it's a very small country, but it's very dense populated. So you can imagine the amount of creativity and also the social problems even move you further to create. So in El Salvador, there's a current of music that was created during the 80s and the 90s that had to do with the war, with the civil war. And there's a lot of music that you probably might have heard if you're like in the social movements like circuit. You might have heard the Yolocambaita, for example, Exceso de Equipaje, that there were like legends in the social movements back in the 80s. Then the 90s came, the peace was signed, and everything bloomed from that, and there was a lot of rock happening. And we have Bronco from El Salvador, we have Roberto Salamanca. Actually, Roberto was one of the artists that came to the festival here.
Yeah, what a talent. Yes, beautiful music. And Bronco, wow, Bronco. Yes, I forgot about Bronco.
Bronco, there's so many. I'm thinking Pamela Robin, thinking about a female singer-songwriter, rocker, and Lorena Cuerno. It's a very famous and long career as a rocker. And then we have a more modern breed of singer-songwriters, and I can point you to Errantes. Errantes is a group in El Salvador of young singer-songwriters that they are getting together, creating community and creating music, really, really good music. And
that is so cool. Errantes.
Errantes. It's not a band. It's a community of singers-songwriters.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. And errantes, I don't know if there is the same connotation in Portuguese. Would be like to err, to make a mistake. But I don't know if that's
no,
what.
no.
That's not
Errantes
what.
in this case is nomad. Somebody that roams from one place to
Ah, maravilla. Que maravilla. I love the idea of music as a vehicle for community, and often you see that happening, like you're mentioning this of errantes. It's all the social movements that we see, how music responds to those social movements. That is always a strong element of people coming together to to really mark that moment and to mark what is happening. Is the same that happened at certain points of time in Brazil, both in the 60s and then with rock, like you were mentioning, the Netflix show about rock in Brazil was a similar thing. Rock was illegal during the military dictatorship. So it's always great to have Latin American musicians here, because we get this, we see each other in our countries, how our music has always been tied to social struggles and to people coming together. It's interesting to see that play out in Brazil, it plays out in El Salvador, it plays out in Cuba. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a parallel history that we have. And because I'm a singer-songwriter and I'm more inclined to that music, I don't want to neglect the great tradition of tropical music, dance music in El Salvador. A cumbia school in El Salvador that is worth to look at, starting with Los Hermanos Flores. It's an orchestra, brass orchestra of cumbia from the 70s, and they still perform. And from the Hermanos Flores, we can come and see all the ramifications of that genre. So, and there's a lot more to talk. Yeah, but I don't want to overwhelm everybody with names, but I didn't want to miss that part, because everybody moves and vibrates with that music, the tropical music.
It is great, because this is part of what this moment is, this show is about. It's us having conversation and sharing with people, right? So talking about sharing your website is on the screen, so if people have questions about any of the bands and movements that we're talking about here in El Salvador, people have questions about getting their start on a Latin American guitar, or maybe people are wondering, wow, they talked about Americanto, and they talked about a beautiful festival that happens in Austin during regular days. You guys need to get together on mauriciocallejas.com on your website. See your album is there, and more things that you've done a lot over the last years, and that's why I was really wanting to have you here in the show, Mauricio, so people can connect with you in different ways on your website. What are you thinking about now for the year? 2021 is here. Of course, it's going so fast. We are already in April. So what are you thinking in terms of the fall? Are you thinking of trying to have live performances? Are you waiting and kind of seeing how things will play out? What are your plans creatively for the fall, summer and fall?
Yes, we're gonna be. We decided that because it takes a lot of planning, this year festival will be virtual as well, like last year.
Perfecto.
So we cannot wait until late August maybe to decide, because then we're not gonna have enough time to invite people to participate. So yeah, the festival will be virtual. On September probably will be the first weekend of September. I'm gonna try this year to include again the film, although it's gonna be online. So we have to figure out a way to do it without hurting the creators, and so that's regarding the website, still working on my album, so I'm gonna be releasing new songs, new videos of the songs. I'm partnering with some friends with some ideas to create different videos from different places. Right now we have three. One was recorded in Austin, the other one was recorded in Guatemala, and the other one was recorded, shooted, I mean, in New Zealand.
Ah, qué padre.
Yeah, so it's all over the place, and we're gonna be trying to do that, partnering and collaborating with other artists in different places.
Mauricio, one of the things that I noticed in some of these videos that you share with me, and we in a minute or two we'll hear Le Falta Salir, but I've seen just how you bring up and celebrate the things of the everyday life, those little things that we look at every day, that we deal with every day in our routines with our family, or getting up in the morning and I look at myself and I'm like, oh, I need to lose some pounds, like exactly. And I really like that, just you're literally creating poetry from everyday interactions that we can just pass by many of them and see, no, this is a mundane interaction. But when you really stop to think about life, wow, brushing your teeth next to your son or whatever, that may be the magic of life or whatever it is, So talk to us a little bit about that, how your interaction with, everyday life and bringing poetry out of that.
Yes, I started writing songs about the street. Actually, my first album is called Things of the Street, Cosas de la Calle, and that's kind of resonates with me, other than like a romantic song, a purely romantic song, una canción cortavenas.
Sí, no siempre es necesaria también, ¿no?
So I started doing my observations of the daily happenings, and thinking about love, but from different ways. Love to our son, to our daughter, to our friends, to our family, to our country. And I have a lot of songs related to my love to my country. My second album, Mágico, it's about that. It's everything revolves around El Salvador, and how I was missing my terruño, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Mi país. Entonces, tiene que ver con un poco de todo, ¿verdad? Pero so my songs had to do with a little bit of everything, and I like to offer. In this case, would be to offer you a different point of view of things that you might have seen before. So that's my approach to singer-songwriting. And I have lately, in songs that I have even recorded, I've been trying to come back to the romantic side, trying to put a different spin on more pop romantic songs. So that's my latest development. But you see, as an artist, we change, and I think that's something good, right? We don't have to stay in the same path. We have to evolve. So that's what is happening in my world.
Oh man, that is a great perspective to have. I wanna say, yeah, I see Sheila here. Hello, Sheila. Hope you're doing okay. That was a little bit of I believe my mic was feedbacking a bit. I hope it's okay now. That's the beauty. That's
It
the
is a
beauty
little
of
noisy. I don't know if it's because it's too loud, but it doesn't sound too loud.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
I
that's
can
what
hear
we.
you.
Yeah, that's what we get for being live with like the spontaneity of being live. I think I took care of it. I hope I did. But anyways, guys, I've been so happy to be talking to you, Mauricio, and getting to know more about you. We should share your music now. because we have a few more minutes with our feed with Austin Music TV. Once again, thank you everybody watching us there. Vamos a dar un saludo a la gente en América Latina, la gente en el sur, en América Central, por México. Un saludo a todos ustedes, músicos e não músicos no Brasil também. Everybody watching us in Brasil. Aqui estamos com o talentoso Mauricio. Mauricio, háblanos un poquito, Le Falta Salir. That is the song we're going to hear. Set us up for this track, Le Falta Salir. What is happening in this video?
So Le Falta Salir is a very, very community-oriented song. It happened to me that I realized that there's so much good happening around the world that we don't know about it. I got to know a group from El Salvador that they were doing theater in the street markets, and they brought these ladies that they used to sell in the market to be artists, and they did a great job, and they are now a theater company instead of street sellers. So I thought, well, this is amazing, and we should know about it. And I thought, well, a lot of people will say, no, the world is going bad. The world doesn't have any hope. And I say in the song, if you think that, it's because you don't go out. You're not going out to meet those examples of good. So that's the idea. It didn't have anything to do with the quarantine of being enclosed in our house. So le falta salir a encontrar esas cosas que están haciendo bien.
Yeah, it's almost like le falta salir in that says get out of your house, get out of your mindset too.
Yes. Go to the encounter, and you're going to be surprised how much good people is doing just because it's the good thing to do.
Oh, and you are definitely in my mind an example. Tú eres un ejemplo de una de esas personas que hace el bueno en nuestra comunidad. You are one of those people, Mauricio. Thank you so much por tu trabajo con la comunidad, for working in the festival, and you empower many Latin American songwriters as well. Así que felicidades para ti. Whenever we get closer to Centroamericano virtual this year, but when we get closer, maybe we can revisit this conversation.
Yes, and we can show the people coming and the people that will be in the festival. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Sí, tenlo por cierto, you can count on this. Un abrazo, Mauricio. Vamos a tocar entonces ahora Le Falta Salir. Querido Mauricio Callejas, Austin-based writer, producer, música de El Salvador para el mundo. And Le Falta Salir at 7 con Frederico7.
Si usted cree que nuestro mundo no tiene remedio y que nadie se arriesga a arreglarlo por falta de fe, si usted cree que de tanto intentarlo la gente está harta, le falta salir, salir le falta.
Si usted cree que de todo el mundo lo suyo es hermoso y que todo lo que viene de afuera le da no sé qué, si usted cree que los trapos sucios no se ensucian en casa, le falta salir, salir le falta.
Le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, get dirt on your feet.
Le falta salir, you need to go out, discover things, get dirt on your feet.
Usted piensa a medio planeta de brazos cruzados y que solo el brillo dorado les hace mover. Si usted cree que todos los hombres lo hacen por plata, le falta salir, le falta salir, salir le falta.
Si usted cree que ya de justicia se habló demasiado y que nadie ha el arado al amanecer, si usted cree que la juventud perdió la esperanza, le falta salir, le falta salir, salir le falta.
Le falta salir, le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, get dirt on your feet. Le falta salir, le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, get dirt on your feet. Hey my friend, you need to go out, discover new things.
Le falta salir, le falta. Le falta salir, le falta. Le falta salir, le falta. Le falta salir, le falta.
Le falta salir, le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, get dirt on your feet. Le falta salir, le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, your feet. Oye, amigo, cuéntalo. Es que, le falta salir, le falta. Le falta salir, le falta. Oye, amigo, óigalo, ahí va. Le falta salir, le falta. Y que no se lo cuenten, no le va a pesar. Le falta salir, le falta.
Cada pueblo es un libro y se lee a pie.
Le falta salir, le falta. Por allí, por allá y acullá. Le falta salir, le falta.
Que la vida se esconde si no va a buscar.
Le falta salir, le falta. Come with me. Le falta salir, le falta. Le falta salir, le falta salir. You need to go out, discover new things, get dirt on your feet. Le falta salir,
Le falta vivir.
you need to go out, discover new things. Le falta salir.
Thank you, everybody. Gracias. Thank you, everybody. We've been here with Mauricio Callejas. Next week, hope to be here with friend Akina Ederly. That's right. Un abrazo a todos. Combo Oscuro next week. Great show at the Kenny Dorham. Combo Oscuro. Check them out. Y un abrazo, Mauricio Callejas. Hasta la próxima. Bueno, Mauricio Callejas, great community, the music, un abrazo, thank you for being here. Nos vemos la semana que entra.